Michael is a class of 2018 and he is currently a renewable energy student in Carleton University, Canada. So obviously, a lot of people are struggling with choosing the path they want to pursue after graduating high school. So can you tell us more about how did you decide that you wanted to take engineering, and when did you decide?
First of all, thank you so much, Mr. Wan, for your kind words. Thank you, Jude. Thank you to ISC for having me. It's a great pleasure to be here and to talk to all of you. I really miss my school, and I'm glad I'll be able to interact with it again and its students and probably share something that might be of help to you guys, hopefully. So to answer your question, Jude, it's definitely not something easy to do. It can be a bit tedious maybe because you're still young, and I still am young, and maybe there's some pressure on us to choose what we decide to do for the next 5-6 years and maybe throughout our lives. So it does take some thinking. It does take some digging deep down inside yourself to know what you're passionate about and what you want to be doing for a long period of time. And especially for the 4-5 years, whatever amount of years the program is, you will be giving most of your time and most of your energy towards that. So to me, engineering is a way of thinking more than it is a field of study. I'm a very organized person. I like to think with a process type of mindset. I'd like to be efficient with everything I do. I like management, and I like making things better and improve them, whether they are processes or products. So I wanted to go into industrial engineering to start with, and I tried to apply to multiple universities, 2 of them which were in Canada, and I applied to 5 universities in the UK. The UK did not have any industrial engineering courses. And why industrial? It was because it's more of a managerial type of study than very technical type of engineering. And I wanted to go with that rather than something that's very technical and very detailed. But I decided I did not want to go to the UK. I preferred to go to Canada. And out of the 3 universities I applied to, 2 of them were industrial engineering programs, and the one that was my last choice that I did not think I will end up going there was Carleton University with the Sustainable and Renewable Energy Engineering. There's 2 streams for sustainable and renewable energy engineering. Allow me to refer to the program as SREE, S-R-E-E, going forward because it's a kind of a long term. So SREE has 2 sub programs, one that's electrical focused and one that's mechanical focused. And knowing that I had issues or trouble visualizing electricity in general early on from grades 9 and 10 when we were taking physics in school, I did not want to go into an electrical focused stream where I had issues visualizing it. So I decided to go with the mechanical stream, and this is my 3rd year right now. I do love the program. It does get very technical at some times, but it's still very interesting. It's a program that's high in demand for the future. We are approaching a time where we have to be a very sustainable civilization to maintain the wellness of our planet and to be more efficient with the way we do things. As you all know, air pollution and greenhouse gas emissions is causing a lot of issues when it comes to global warming and so on. So we have to be very careful with that because it's something that's irreversible in the near future. So sustainable energy is very important and something that's relatively new. So I'm glad that I got into that early. I'll be one of the few generations, the first few generations that actually studied that program.
Yeah, that's very good. So writing an appealing application is extremely vital. So can you tell us a bit about how your experience was with your university application?
Sure. I think the most important thing when it comes to writing applications or statements or applications in general is to be yourself completely and not try to act or put on a mask or try to impress admissions of any university with something that's not entirely true, or trying to leave out things that you think might not be good or might be bad. I think it's very important to be yourself entirely, and that would be a very big advantage. Of course, having a lot of experiences, extracurriculars, being involved in a lot of things more than just academically is crucial to any application, especially when it comes to high ranked, top-notch universities. They have the mindset that they want to take students that are not just academically excelling, and they want them to have a well-rounded application where they have involvements in multiple other fields in their life, and they are just willing to learn and willing to gain new skills, and they have multiple interests and hobbies, and they do that and manage their time together with their studies, and of course be excelling in their studies itself. So to simplify that, just be yourself, try to tell them about yourself more than just your studies and what you did and your grades, what your interests are, what your hobbies are. You might end up applying to a university that has a top soccer league, and if you miss out on telling them that you were playing with a club and achieved multiple trophies, you might have less of a chance than you would have if you did mention that. So be honest, tell them what your interests are, what your hobbies are once again, and show them that you are someone that is always looking to improve their skills, to grow their fields of knowledge, and yeah, that's about it.
That's a great answer. So this is a very important question I think we all need to hear. So what did you do during your high school years to improve and to support your application to universities?
That's a very good question, actually. So as I mentioned just a minute ago, I tried to broaden the fields that I'm involved in rather than just sticking to achieving perfect A's in school. I was not the top of my class in school, but I was involved in multiple other things. I used to produce music, I used to play multiple instruments, I used to run track. I had a few internships and experiences here and there. I had multiple other interests in sports as well. I was someone that was just generally very social, and I knew for a fact that this would help me have higher points in the eyes of the admissions, because it was not just solely straight A's that they were looking at, and as well as doing my research. Any important discussion session or interview, let's say, you have to do your research, you have to do your homework, you have to know what you're in for, and that would save you a lot of time, and it would save you a lot of ihraj. I lost the word for that. So yeah, that's the best way to actually prepare for university's admissions or applications, is just try to be involved as much as you can in school, outside of school, and have a well-rounded, nice resume or portfolio.
Perfect. Okay. So what options within engineering are there? Because right now, it's no longer engineering alone. There are different branches and majors with engineering. So what do you think are worth learning about?
That's a really good question. I believe at this point in time, where our daily lives revolve around technology, it's very important to learn about software. Software engineering is very underrated, and we don't know much about that. Maybe it's a culture thing. Maybe it's something that we haven't been introduced to yet. Maybe sometime in the near future we will be exposed to that even more. but it's very important and it will not saturate anytime soon. There will be a demand for software engineers, a very high demand for years to come. And it's a very enjoyable type of field. It's very challenging. It's very nice when you're learning about it. They always keep it interesting, never gets boring. And to actually write a software yourself, it feels as if you accomplished something. So I think software engineering would be the top choice for myself to recommend to other people that are willing to go into engineering in general. Another field that's has a very high demand right now and that's gonna keep on increasing in demand in the years to come is aerospace. And aerospace with vehicle design, to be specific. Also space propulsion and systems. These types of aerospace programs will have a very high demand. As you guys know, I don't know if you guys follow Elon Musk, but we're going to Mars soon. So there's actually a lot of companies that are working on huge projects to support that and to make that possible. So aerospace would be the second, and my program would be the third. I did not put it first because I know for a fact that so many people are gonna be finding it a bit difficult. It's not a very easy program, but neither is the first two I said. But in general, I think it comes third because it's not easy. It's a bit challenging, but of course, as I mentioned earlier, there's a very huge demand for it, and people need it right now. It's new, it's fresh, it's trying to solve multiple problems, and I would recommend it. I would love to see some of you guys study that in my university, and I would definitely love to meet you when you guys do so, hopefully.
Hopefully. So what is it like to be an engineering student, and what are the hardships that you faced or are facing right now?
That's a good question. I think I'd want to say it's challenging, but it's actually a matter of how you view it. If you did take it to be challenging, it will become challenging. But if you just looked at it in a way where it's a matter of time and you gotta put in the time to know what's happening and to understand your material, your courses, your program, it would be a better kind of perception, actually. It is very challenging, and sometimes it's frustrating. I just want to say that to all the future engineers out there and to future engineers from your classes as well, at some points you might hit a dead end. You might feel that this is becoming very difficult, or you might lose interest in some courses because most programs, engineering programs, there's not a lot of flexibility when it comes to choosing your courses, rather than a bachelor's of arts, for example, where most of your courses are electives that you choose, or maybe I'm not sure how it is with other types of bachelor degrees, but for engineering, you're kind of forced to take some courses because they are prerequisites to courses that follow in the next years. So sometimes you're taking a course that does not seem interesting to you and gets you frustrated. You find it difficult. I actually lost interest in so many courses along the 3 years that I was in, and it still happens, but I do not let that affect my decisions and my progress, let's say, because I know I'm going to thank myself in the future for being resilient and sticking with it and pushing through till the end. So it is kind of challenging. I'm not going to sugarcoat that, but it needs someone who's resilient and someone who's determined, and someone that will see through till the end.
Okay, so What do you believe are the skills that you must have to succeed in the engineering program?
I think I was mentioning a few of them without realizing in the previous question. It's very important to be very resilient and very determined, because you will have some hiccups here and there. And if you are someone that gives up too early or does not have that determination, you might end up switching programs maybe, or maybe dropping out entirely, or maybe getting very frustrated with your courses and having to repeat multiple of them, maybe failing a few. This is not a big deal, obviously, but to avoid that, you have to be very determined and resilient. You have to be very organized. Uh, I had to learn that the hard way. I was organized in the past, but as I experienced the years that passed, I had to know that this wasn't enough, and my organization skills had to improve and improve every single day to make sure everything's on track. I have my do's and deadlines somewhere that I know for a fact I'm not gonna miss. I see them on my wall, maybe on my phone. I know when I'm gonna do every single thing that's due, and you have to be able to work with teams, not teams the software teams, as in actual teams, because no engineer can do anything by himself. Actually, no person can do anything by himself. You always have to be good around teams and people. You have to be good at managing projects and managing your team and your colleagues and your groups. You have to be great at technology. You have to be really good with the basics, which are Microsoft Word, Excel, and so on. And you will be introduced to new softwares in the future that are maybe used for modeling 3D objects or simulating something, which might be electricity, might be other types of systems. You need to know how to present, and present especially to a non-technical audience, because being an engineer, when you're trying to get your point across, you have to know what words to use so that the audience can understand it, whether they understand engineering or not. So communication skills are very important, and it's very important to know how to communicate your thoughts to someone who might not know the terminology or the exact technicalities of it. So that's very important as well. And the last thing I'd like to say about what skills are interpersonal skills, just knowing how to deal with people in general, because you will be responsible for your life on a daily basis. We live with our families right now, and sometimes we take things for granted. But when we're abroad, we have to manage our entire life by ourselves. So we have to manage our time, we have to manage our finances, and we have to be very aware of the lessons we need to learn from every scenario that we encounter. Because every scenario or every thing we go through has a moral and has a story to teach us, and we have to be smart about knowing what to take to heart and what to ignore and move on with. So I think these are the few things that will make a good engineer or a good engineering student. I might have forgot a few or missed out on a few points, but those are the things that just came to mind, and I wanted to make sure I share with everyone to avoid them happening, hopefully, to you guys.
Great. Okay, so how do you believe studying in ISC Amman helped you in your study in university?
That's my favorite question, actually. ISC Amman, it's very obvious. It's very the amount of exams we had in 1 week. We thought that they were okay because we just got too used to them. And when you go to university, you'll find your peers struggling with that because they were not used to having maybe a lot of quizzes or assignments or dues in the same week. But we've been training for that for the past 8 or 9 years. So we're probably we're ahead of our peers from that point of view. as well as a very powerful math program. I was 2 years ahead of my peers in math in university. I took multiple calculus courses and I didn't even have any issues with them maybe till my third year when it started getting new. But before that, it was all something that I have encountered, maybe in more detail, but I had amazing teachers and the curriculum that we had covered a lot of topics that were advanced. Even our physics and chemistry courses, I actually got credits for chemistry without taking the chemistry courses in university, because I did well in my APs and because our curriculum covered that material straight to the very small details. So I got to skip chemistry in university. So academically, ISC Amman is actually amazing in preparing us to university. And even with the activities that are always happening, trying to get the students involved, sports, music, and other extracurriculars, there's always something happening. There's always chances for people to explore their interests and be involved in involved in these type of things. So yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. So you're currently studying in Canada. What is it like studying there?
I'm gonna start with cold. It's very, very cold. Canada is amazing. I love the country. There's a mix of so many cultures and ethnicities, and a lot of people from all over the world. It's very friendly. It's very multicultural. The people there are very, very polite. Like, there are actual jokes and memes on how much Canadians are polite, but they are very polite. They're just helpful and friendly, as I mentioned. The country itself is very pretty. I've been to multiple cities inside Canada, and I love each of them. They are different. They are new. That you feel that every city is a new place. There's a lot of opportunity in the country because it's underpopulated, and there's always a demand for skilled people to innovate and to improve certain things and aspects that are happening. So I really enjoy the city that I'm in and the country as a whole. As I said, it's very cold. It is very cold. You guys don't understand how cold it is. It's bipolar. We see a positive 40 degrees in the summer and a negative 40 degrees in the winter. So
how's the food there?
The food is kind of bad. I'm not gonna lie. You're gonna learn how to cook it for yourself, because otherwise it's just basic junk food that's not even delicious. And we miss our Arabi food, and you don't get a lot of that there unless you're in Montreal. So the food's not bad, but I don't know. You're gonna have to cook for yourself.
Yeah. So we've heard you've started your own project. Can you tell us more?
Sure. So I'll just give you an overview on what the problem is before discussing the project and the solution for that. My university is an closed community campus. It's not an urban campus or a city campus. It's isolated in a certain area. And we have 40,000 plus students and staff on campus. It's very huge. It's a very big place to be, and it takes a long time to walk from one place to the other. We have more than 25 restaurants on campus. We have, just to give you an idea of how big it is, we have 3 Starbuckses, we have 2 Subways, we have 2 pizza restaurants, we have a shawarma place, we have a sushi place, we have multiple other restaurants there. So it's kind of big. And the problem is sometimes going to grab a coffee maybe, or a bite to eat, and going back to your place or your lecture hall would take you around 30 plus minutes to do that. That's without standing in line and ordering what you need. So the solution was I created a technology company. I made an app that allows anyone to order anything from these stores on campus and have it delivered to their specific location by a fellow colleague. So assume you're in the lecture hall and I'm in Starbucks. You would order, and then someone in Starbucks would check this other side of the app to see if anyone wants anything on their way. And I would pick that up and deliver it to you in exchange for a small delivery fee. And you as well can be in line or have some spare time on your hands. Check through the app if anyone is ordering anything from a place that you are headed to, and you can deliver that item to them as well. And there's also a pickup option in the app that allows you to pay ahead of time and pick up the item from the store yourself so that you can skip the line and not have to wait. And the app is ready right now. We will be launching it in my campus hopefully in fall 2021, which is 6 months or 7 months from now, maybe more. We will be testing it out here in King Hussein Business Park. It will be a invite only type of testing where we have a limited 200 or to 300 users, making sure the technology is working properly before we roll it out to the general public. And after I started that project or that startup, let's say in Canada, I came back because of Corona, and I had another idea in the summer that I thought would do really well. And it was a online store that allows you to frame the intangible. We called this page Frameholic. I started it with my brother and my friend, and we framed music and albums and sold them online to thousands of people, where they can hang it on their wall or just decorate the room or gift it to other people. And it did really well. It did a lot better than we expected. Within the first 6 weeks, we had sold over 1,000 frames and went on to improve after that. And we actually started a wave in Jordan. Multiple other pages started copying it and taking a similar idea, or actually the same idea, some people. And we actually think that it was an amazing experience, and I got the chance to pay back my initial investment for the app development by creating another side hustle, let's say, or a side business, sorry. So yeah, it was a very productive year for me. I learned a lot in multiple different fields, and that's something that I was pointing out in the beginning of this call, that it's important to know a lot about something, but it's important to know something about everything as well. So you have to know everything about something and something about everything. You have general knowledge in everything, but be very specialized and very knowledgeable in one field as well. That would make you very successful, hopefully. And yeah, this year was bad to many people, but I'd like to see the half full portion of the glass rather than the half empty. And to me, it was personally really good. I learned a lot, as I said, and I achieved a lot of things. And it's a stepping stone to a better this year, hopefully, and a better next year as well.
That's actually really impressive, your project.
Thank you so much.
How are you preparing for your future? Are you involved in any type of research, training, or internships?
I did a few internships last summer. It was the summer after my first year in university. I did an internship with a company called Green Tech, which is a renewables company. They install solar farms and solar panels for industrial scale projects. And I was involved in another internship that was a paper mill that produces from raw material and end up with hygienic tissue paper and writing paper and other sorts of paper-made hygiene items or products. My internship there with both of them actually was a bit too early, I feel, because they were trying to teach me a lot of things that were early in the process where I hadn't learned about these in university yet. But I actually was very thankful that I did that in my second and third years, because when they came up to me in lectures and in examples, I remembered my hands-on experience with these internships. So they made sense after. While when I was doing that, in that time, they felt irrelevant, they felt out of reach, they felt a bit difficult. And right now, I'm not interning anymore. I'm working on my startup as well, and I'm trying to focus on that. I'm self-educating on multiple other things, not engineering related. I have a lot of other interests that I didn't get the chance to learn in university, so I might as well learn them myself. And that's very important as well. If you're interested in something, don't wait for an institution to teach you that. We're in the content era right now. There's so much content online. You can find whatever you need, and you can become an engineer basically off YouTube if you wanted to. So yeah, never wait. Always try to learn something, even if it seems a bit difficult in the beginning. It will make sense in the future. So basically that's my preparation. It's just self-education, trying to grow my business right now, get it off the ground, and hopefully in the next year or two I'll be doing a co-op program with my university where I get to join a engineering firm for at least 6 months. It would be basically a job, but it's just training. It's not something that's very official, and there's a part-time studying happening at the same time where I can be working and then finishing a few courses at the end of my day. And that's the plan so far.
That's a nice plan.
Thank you.
What do you know now you wish you had known when you were at high school?
That's a good question. Basically everything. Like in high school, we were kind of taking everything for granted. We were rushing, finishing school. We wanted to travel. We wanted to be alone. All that type of thing. But looking back at it right now, I really miss school. And I can't believe that there's never going back to that. It's done forever. I still have issues understanding that. Being around the family, living alone is not easy. It's a lot of chores and a lot of responsibility that we didn't have before. And trying to know that in the next few years, you're in the real world where you're responsible for everything you do. You're a grown up now. There's no one that will be taking care of you, let's say. So it's just that I didn't appreciate every minute of everything. And it's something that still happens, of course, all the time. So we just have to remind ourselves that we have to appreciate the moment, be in the present, never rush into the future, because the future basically does not exist. You create it. And just be patient as well. Take it step by step. Enjoy your school years. Enjoy being around your friends, your teachers, your family. And then everything else is planned ahead. And of course, always plan ahead. Don't wait for things to come to you, but they will come to you eventually. And don't rush them. Don't think into the future a lot. Just stay in the present, and don't take things for granted, because you never know. They might be here today, gone tomorrow. So use it to the fullest, appreciate it, and enjoy it.
Okay, thank you for the advice. So now we can move to the Q&A session. So anyone who has a question, please raise your hand and I will call upon you and you can unmute. Okay, Miss Rawan, you can unmute.
Hi, Michael.
Hi, Miss.
Thank you for the presentation. It was really
Thank
nice.
you. Thank you for having me.
I have a question. When did you start your research when it comes to universities that you wanted to apply to? And what advice would you give students who are interested in studying in Canada but are not sure where exactly? Like, what factors should they take into consideration when making that decision? Because Canada is a huge country, it's a continent. So there are so many options there. So what advice can you give them?
Thank you for the question, Miss. It's a really good question. I actually was very excited for university and started looking at universities early on, probably in your age, Jude. I was maybe grade 10 or early grade 11 when I started exploring my options, seeing where I wanted to study, the countries to start with, and then the universities in these countries. And some of them were universities that I wanted, but I didn't like the place it was in, maybe, or the city it was in. So the few factors to consider is the city, obviously, because you will be living there for at least 4 years. So it's somewhere that you would think you will enjoy. And then the weather. The weather is very important. If you can take the cold, then be our guest. If you cannot, then I do not advise it. Um, the general vibe of the place, if it's multicultural or cultural or not, if it's far or not, because some of us cannot travel for, in many hours maybe, or some of us have families that want us to be around them. Multiple other things come into play when thinking of a country to travel to. But I think you should start with the program and work backwards rather than what I did. It was probably something that was not done very efficiently. I was trying to find a nice city before finding a nice university. I think you should start with the program and see where this program is taught and your options, and then filter it down from there based on your interests and what you think suits you better. And for Canada, it is a huge country. It is a continent, as you mentioned, Ms. Rawan. Um, there are the three most major and most popular cities there, which are, sorry, Vancouver, Toronto, and Montreal, and then Ottawa follows. Um, Vancouver is a very, very beautiful place, and it's a very nice city to be in, but it's very far, so that's something to consider when trying to apply there. Will you be able to travel 18 plus hours to go home and back? As for Montreal and Toronto and Ottawa, it is extremely cold. Will you be able to cope with that? Would you love to be in a place where it's winter 3 quarters of the year? Um, there is multiple benefits for Canada because to me, I wanted to go to a place where I did not know any person. I did not want to go to places where I'm following the same crowd or being with the same group I was, because I just wanted to explore a new place, meet new people, get out of my comfort zone, because that's how you grow, getting out of your comfort zone. So I ended up going to Canada because the city I was in appealed to me. I loved the country and the benefits it had, the people, the multicultural environment, and the program, of course, as well as exploring it by myself. I had no other friends that went there. I had no other family that went there. I was there alone and just explored the entire city by myself, met new people, made amazing friends, and I'm enjoying every second of it, honestly.
Thank you, Ms. Rawan, for the question. Does anyone else have a question? Ms. Rawan has another question. Okay.
Sure.
It's not a question, actually. It's just something that I remembered when Michael was talking. I remember when he was applying to universities that, yes, he was obsessed with which city he's going to end up in. obsessed seriously, and he wanted to go to Toronto so much. And I remember telling him, because he was so much into music at the time.
Correct.
If you guys didn't know, Michael creates beautiful music. He's like a DJ. Yes, check his music on YouTube. Actually, you can find some of the stuff there. There was this. Remember, Michael, the song that I hated?
Of course.
And you made me like it because
Of course.
Yes, that's how good Michael is actually. So he wanted to go to Toronto, and I told him, please don't go to Toronto because you'll end up at a club working as a DJ and you would forget about your studies. So please don't go to Toronto. And then he didn't. He went to Carleton. And I think it was a month after he started there, he sent me an email and he said, Miss, you were so right. And I'm so glad I didn't go to Toronto. Do you remember, Michael?
Of course. Of course.
Yeah. So, yeah. What Michael was saying, I mean, it might not make sense to some students now at this point, but keep his words in mind because later on you'll understand.
Thank you, Miss.
Thank you. That was just the comment that I wanted to share with everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you. So anyone else has a question? Mr. Abbas, you may unmute your microphone.
Okay, good evening everyone. Good evening Michael. بحب أقول لك أول شيء اشتقنا لك بالمدرسة. We missed you a lot. I will keep missing on you كمان for the long future. أول شيء بعتذر جيت شوي ليت على السيشن مع إنك أنت 3 سنين درستك ولا مرة عملتها اجيت ليت. بس بالبارت اللي سمعته جد we are all proud of you إنك أنت تلميذنا تلميذ شويفات عمان. بنفتخر فيك. ومايكل لازم الطلاب اللي عم يسمعونا هلا من جريدز 10 و11 مو بس تلميذ شاطر وبيجيب علامات عالية لأنه that's part of the story. The second part هي كل الشغلات التانية combined together. فمايكل من الشغل من الطلاب اللي distinguished انه مو بس بيجيب علامات وشاطر. واستفدت منك كتير بالبارت اللي سمعته من هاي السيشن. يمكن more than you benefited from me ب 3 years of teaching. فكلنا بنفتخر فيك انك انت تلميذنا واشتقنا لك بالمدرسة و keep it going ونتمنى لك الخير حبيبي.
أستاذ عباس, thank you so much. I miss you كتير. وبالعكس لا, أنا I remember you on a daily basis. I'm forever grateful. You were one of my favorite teachers. كتير استفدت. يعني I'm forever grateful literally because you helped me so much, not just in school but going forward in university. I ended up teaching my friends your methods, and they all know about you in a way because I was just really good at calculus and they always ask me how, and I told them I had this amazing teacher, and you're always in my mind. Thank you for your kind words. I appreciate it so much, Ustaz.
Thank you, Ustaz. So anyone else has a question?
Is it Aline?
Aline Abu Khalaf, you may unmute.
Hi, I wanted to ask, how did you know you wanted to study engineering? Because personally, I don't know what I want to study. So what made you want to study engineering? And like, how can you كيف تقدر تنصحني to know what I want to pick?
Thank you for your question, Aline. That's very important. And as I mentioned earlier, it can be very difficult to choose. You guys are still young and you might not know what you like. The best thing to do is to try out things. So in this case, you have to read about engineering, you have to read about other streams and see what appeals most to you. And are you the type of person that's into mathematics and its cousins? Are you the type of person that thinks in a structured manner? Do you like managing projects and people? Do you like the technical stuff about engineering? Do you want to know how things work in a way that most people don't have the idea that how things actually work? in the details, I mean, of course. And the best thing is to keep on researching, keep on reading, and see what appeals most to you. And I see that you're in grade 10. I think you have plenty of time. It will be obvious to you, hopefully, in the next 2 years, what things you want to do most, and what things that interest you more than others. So just be patient, and all you can do right now is do your research, ask around, and you will find what you're passionate about sometime soon, hopefully. Just stay patient.
Thank you, Aline, and thank you, Michael, for those nice words.
Hala, you also said you did internships. How did you find them? Like, how did you know, internship? Like, how did you find all these internships, وهيك?
So I would recommend, maybe it's kind of a little early right now, but I would recommend starting a LinkedIn profile early on and trying to build your profile and your resume on there. You will find a lot of job listings and internship opportunities, and it's always useful to have connections, network, message people, get to know them and introduce yourself. People that are hiring in companies, reach out to them, ask them if you can intern at theirs. You have to shoot your shot, and you have to try it in multiple ways. Keep on trying. Ask people if they have connections at the places you're interested in interning at, and try to increase the chances of it happening in all these methods. And I think you will land an internship somewhere, and the job thereafter using the same methods as well.
Okay, thank you, Aline. So thank you so much, Michael. It was great talking to you and having you back here. And good luck in your next years. And thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I hope that I benefited you guys in any way, and I hope that my advice was of use. And thank you, Ms. Rawan, Ustaz Firas, for organizing this. Thank you, Ustaz Abbas. Thank you to all the other students. And thank you, ISC Amman. I miss you. Take care.
Thank you, Michael. We miss you too.